जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम class. How are you all?
Walaikum salam. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Fine, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine too. Ready for the quiz today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have your quiz at 1:30. You will be able to see your quiz at 1:30 on Google Classroom. So we are done with our topic of essay writing, and we discussed about different types of essays, and we discussed some case studies as well. That we discussed some examples of essays, how they have used different techniques of writing the essays. So today we will start our new topic. This topic is also very relevant to your course because I have observed many grammatical mistakes in your write-ups. Either you have written any essay or you are writing any paragraph. So our today's topic is subject-verb agreement. Can all of you see the slides? Beta, can you see the slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
why we need to cover this particular content, because this is very relevant if you want to compose a good content, or if you want to write a good essay or any particular document you want to write. So for that reason, I have observed many grammatical errors in your write-ups, all of your write-ups, and the major mistake which you all do mostly is the subject verb agreement, that many of you don't know where to write the plural noun and where to write the singular noun, and if it is a singular or plural, then what kind of verb we need to write. So many of you are making such kind of mistakes in your write-ups. So we will discuss today so that you can compose a well-written and error-free essay. And in your because this will in this essay writing, you are right. You have to write in any of your course. If you are writing the answer of any business related course, or if you are writing and the answer to any nutrition related course, you have to compose an essay. So you have to write, you have to compose a document for that. So but whatever course it is, you have to write your answers, you have to do your projects, you have to write your assignments. So for that, your English should be appropriate. And whenever you are writing in English, your write up should be error free, grammatical free. So this will help you in writing anything in your academic field or in your professional field as well. So in this particular session, you will learn, you will identify the singular and plural nouns, and you will identify which correct verb you have to put with that particular subject. And then you will write appropriate pronouns and antecedents in a sentence. You will compose a coherent sentence, and you will write correct adverbs and conjunctions in a sentence. So these are the rules which we are going to discuss, and you have to keep these rules in your mind. So these are the technicalities of English language. First thing is subject rules related to subject and verb agreement. How we can make our subject agrees with our verb. So first rule is, you have to look into the slides, because I have written all the examples here. All the rules are written here. So I have made it very easy for you to understand the rules. So first rule of subject verb agreement is, a verb must agree with its subject in number and person. Subject could be singular in number or plural in number. It should be agreed to its verb. Let's suppose if the subject is singular, the dog, we know that it will carry the verb which is having the s or es with it when we write the present indefinite tense. And when we have the plural noun, plural subject, then we don't need to put s or es with the verb. We will just write the first form of the verb. So it means the change in the number will change the category of the verb as well. Okay, for the dog singular, we will write growls, and for the dogs plural, we will write growl. So singular number and plural number changes the verb. Again, when we talk about the person, if we have a singular person, or if we have the we can say first person or second person or third person, we have different verbs. When we talk about I, that is the first person, we write am with it. Or if we are talking about the third person, that is he, she, we write is with it. So we have different verbs for different persons as well. So we have to write appropriate or accurate verb which is appropriate for that particular subject. Second rule is don't get confused by the words that come between the subject and the verb. They do not affect the agreement. It means that if the words are coming between the subject and the verb, you don't need to get confused with these words, because sometimes people think if you read this sentence, the dog is chewing on my jeans is usually very good. The dog who is chewing on my jeans is usually very good. Here, some people think that here the jeans is the verb. No, this is the phrase which is coming in between the subject and the verb. So here, the dog is a subject, and we have to put this verb according to that subject. If the dog is singular, we will put is here. Okay, so the words coming in between the subject and the verb, you don't need to be get confused with those words. Those are just for the explanation. Those are just a clauses or phrases. You just have to how we can find out the subject by putting two questions, subject and the putting two questions on the subject, what and who. Okay, so who is usually very good? The dog. Here the answer for who is dog, so you don't need to get confused with these words. Sometimes prepositional phrases can come between the subject and the verb, like of the mangoes. Prepositional phrases starting with the preposition of. Okay, the quality of the mangoes was not good. Here, what was not good? The quality. So you don't need to get confused that either the mangoes is the subject or the quality is the subject. You have to keep in this mind that this phrase, this is the prepositional phrase. This doesn't need to do anything with the subject and the verb. So the main subject is the quality, and you know the second technique how you can find out the subject by putting the question of what and who. So you have to avoid to be confused with such kind of phrases and such kind of words coming in between the subject and the verb. Third rule for the subject verb agreement is when the two or more singular nouns or pronouns joined by and require a plural verb by and. Okay? When the two nouns were joined by the and, you can say you can see that you have to put the plural verbs there, like are or were. Gold and silver are precious metals. He and I were studying. So whenever two nouns are or even pronouns are joined with and, you have to put the plural verb, that is are, that is were, that is have. Okay, singular verbs are is, am, was, has, and plural verbs are, have, or were. Okay, and when we talk about, sometimes it happens that you are putting and, but both the nouns are or the pronouns are talking about the same idea or same thing or same person. Let's suppose if I talk about one person and I am saying that novelist and the poet is dead. Okay? So it means that I'm talking about only one person, giving him two different adjectives or two different categories or qualities. So at that time, when I'm talking about the same person or same thing, I will put singular verb. Okay, that novelist and the poet. So I am talking about only one person. So bread and butter is only one word, one idea. So we will write is here. So this is an exceptional case for and. When and is joining two words which are you can say that having one idea, carrying one idea, you will write one singular verb over there. Rule number 4 is words joined to a singular subject with as well as together with accompanied with. You will put singular verb. So whenever the subjects are joined with such kind of words like as well as with together with, you will write singular verb. So you have to keep these rules in your mind. Okay, there is no hard, but you can say that there is no theory or there is no explanation for this that how this will happen. These are the rules, and you have to follow these rules. That the ship with its crew. So the subject joined with this word with, you have to write the singular verb, saying silver as well as cotton. So these subjects are joined with as well as, you have to write the singular verb. Fifth rule is when both the subjects, when there are two subjects in a sentence and both the subjects are joined with such kind of words, or, nor, neither nor, either or, not only but also. When both the subjects are singular, you can say here cat and dog, both are singular and they are joined with either or, then you will put singular verb. And when both the subjects are plural and they are joined with either or, neither nor, or any word written here, you will write the plural verb. Let's suppose if both are singular, you will write singular verb. If both are plural, you will write plural verbs. Like either the cat and dog has been here, either the cats and dogs have been here. So this is how, if these words are coming and both are singular, you will write singular verb. If both subjects are plural, you will write plural verb. Okay? But another rule for all these verbs like or, nor, neither, nor, either, nor, not only, but also. What if one is singular and one is plural? One subject is singular and one subject is plural. At that time, what kind of verb you will write? You will write the verb for that particular subject which is nearest to the verb. Let's suppose you can see here either he or I, either he or I. Now you can see that he carries different kind of verb and I carries different kind of verbs. At that time, you will write that verb which is for that subject which is nearest to the position of the verb. Here, the nearest to the position of the verb is I. You will write the verb according to I. Now you can see neither you nor he. Again, for you, you write the plural verb, and he, you write the singular verb. So you will write that verb which is nearest to the subject. You will write according to he. So these are the rules for such kind of words like nor, or, neither nor, either or, not only but also. I'm going to repeat the rules for these words. If both subjects are singular, you will write singular verb. If both subjects are plural, you will write plural verbs. If one subject is singular and one is plural, then you will write that verb which is nearest, you will write the verb for that subject which is nearest to the position of the verb. Okay? I know it is, I think that I never taught such kind of rules on slides. I always use boards for teaching such kind of rules. But I think that now in this situation, this is more appropriate. But otherwise, if we were in the class, I would have been teaching you these particular rules on board. So that would be more interesting for you. So rule 7 is some nouns which are plural in form but singular in meaning take a singular verb. Sometimes it happens that a word is having only plural form, like news. You can see that S is here, you can say that it's plural. Politics, S is here. Mathematics, S is here. So we don't have any singular form for such kind of word. We can't say new, we can't say politic, we can't say mathematic. So we have only one form for these nouns, that is plural. But these nouns act as a singular noun. When they act as a singular noun, we will write the singular verb with them. Okay? So we will write the news is, the politics was with him. Mathematics is a branch of study. Okay? So there are such kind of words which are having the formation of the plural subject, plural noun, but they are not plural. They are acting as a singular noun, and you have to put a singular verb with them. Okay? At the same time, there are some nouns which are singular in form. Like we don't have their plurals. Doesn't we can't say dozens. We don't have peoples. And many of you write this peoples. Don't write it again, peoples. We don't have any plural form for people. Okay, we have only singular form for this. But these kind of words, they act as a plural. Okay? And we always write plural verb forms with them. Whenever you will write people, you will write are, because people doesn't have at the same time plural form, but at the same time he acts. You can use this word as a plural. Okay, so you will write are plural verb with this particular word. So there are some words who don't have their singular forms, but they act as a singular, like you can say politics or mathematics. And there are some words who don't have their plural forms, like people, but they act as a plural, and we put a plural verb with them, like people are. So I hope that from now you will not make such kind of mistakes, like you will not write peoples, and you will not write singular verb with it. You will write people with plural verb with it, because it is a rule that it acts as a plural and it carries a plural verb with it. Rule number 9, collective noun. We discussed collective nouns. We discussed all the parts of speeches, but today we are discussing about some extra rules, some advanced rules for making our content more error free. Okay? Collective nouns, because we know that we use one word for number of people, that is called collective noun. So it can be acted as singular noun, or it can act as a plural noun. Now, where it acts as a singular noun and where it acts as a plural noun. It acts as a singular noun when all the members of that particular committee or that particular context are agree on some point. It will act as a plural noun when all the members are not agree on one point. Okay? When there is a division, they will act as a plural, and when there is a unity, they will act as unity one singular. Okay? So you can see here in the sentence, the committee has issued its report. It shows the unity, individuality, that that committee has sent the report. So at that time, when the committee is acting as a singular noun, we will put the singular verb here. But when we read the second sentence, the committee are divided on one minor point. Here, this sentence is not showing their unity; they are showing their division. At that time, committee word will point us as it is working as a plural noun, and we will write the plural verb here. Okay? But at the same time, you have to keep in your mind that we must be consistent in putting the pronouns in the sentences as well. And suppose if you are writing this sentence, committee has appended a note to its report. ठीक है, like committee has issued the report. Appended मतलब attach करना, ठीक है. So it means that you have written a singular verb, you have considered it a singular noun, then you will write its. ठीक है. If we write that committee are divided in one minor point, then there the sentence will carry there. ठीक है. So this is how you have to make consistency in your sentences by putting the singular noun with singular verb and with the singular pronoun as well. 10th rule is when the plural noun is a proper noun. ठीक है. When there is a plural noun but it's a proper noun, name for some single object or some collective unit, it must be followed by a singular verb. You know that we said that if it is a plural noun, we write the plural verb. If it is a singular noun, we write the singular verb. But this is another rule, exceptional case. But if the plural noun is a proper noun, then we will write the singular verb. You can see here the example that Arabian Nights. It's S shows that it's a plural noun, but this is again a proper noun as well. So we will write singular noun because it's a proper noun. United States, it shows that it's a plural noun, but it's a proper noun. Okay? So at that time we will write singular noun as a singular verb with it as well. Rule number 11 is when a plural noun denotes some specific quantity or amount considered as a whole, the verb is generally singular. When your noun is denotes your noun denotes some quantity or some amount, okay, you will consider as a whole, you will consider it as a singular noun. You can say here, see here, 15 minutes is allowed to each speaker. Okay, so it's a quantity, it's 15 minutes, and this particular time is as a whole you are giving to the speaker, so you will write is. 10 kilometers is a long walk. Here 10 kilometers is is used here for one whole walk. Okay, so here you will write singular noun. So these 11 rules are for subject verb agreement. I am going to revise the rules for all of you. First one is if it's a singular noun, put the singular verb. If it's a plural noun, put the plural verb. Second one is whenever two subjects are joined with and, you will write plural verb. When two subjects are joined with and but have giving one idea, one view of one person or one thing, then you will write singular verb. When the words are joined with subject is joined with, along with, in accordance with, you will write singular verb. When two subjects are joined with either or, neither, nor, or, and both the subjects are singular, you will write singular verb. And when both the subjects are plural, you will write plural verb. When one is plural and one is singular, you will write the verb according to the nearest subject. Okay? And next one is when there is a collective noun, you will write the verb according to the nature of the context. If the all the members are agreed to one point, then they will act as a singular noun, and you will put singular verb as well. If all the members are not agree and they are not on the same page, then you will consider it as a plural collective noun, and you will write the plural verb as well. And when we have the proper noun in the form of plural noun, you will write singular verb. And when we have the quantity or amount as a whole, we will write singular noun. So this is the exercise. Before moving towards the next rules, I want you to do this exercise with me. In each of the following sentences, supply a verb in the agreement with its subject. G. No news dash good news. Who will tell me with what is the right answer?
Is
Yes.
Is
Yes.
ma'am.
Is because we know that there are some subjects who are carrying the plural form, but they act as a singular form. Okay? Like news. The cost of all these articles dash risen. Has or have?
Have, has,
जी और कोई बताए?
मैम हैव आएगा मेरे
कौन कह रहा है have आएगा?
नो मैम इट्स हैज ही आएगा
क्यों?
मैम हैव आएगा हैव।
कैसे?
मैम
मैम आर्टिकल्स है ना ज्यादा है
अच्छा.
सिंगुलर नहीं प्लूरल है
This is the confusing part for you, that you can say that the cost of all these articles. You can say that, see that of all these articles, it's a prepositional phrase. So this prepositional phrase is coming between the subject and the verb. Okay? So your main subject is cost. So don't get confused with the words coming between your subject and the verb. I told you that
यस
you
मैम
will not consider articles as a subject. The word cost is the subject. So according to the cost, you will have the verb has. ठीक है?
हैज
The cost
ओके
has
मैम
risen.
यस मैम
Also, you can put the question what has risen. You will not get the answer with articles because the answer is cost. The jury dash divided in their opinions. Was a word. Yes, because it's divided, and you can see the consistency with the pronouns as well. A good man and useful citizen dash passed away. Has or have?
father.
हैव
Has. Because we are talking about one person, that good man and
हैज
useful
यस
citizen
मैम
has passed away. One or the other of these fellows dash stolen the watch.
Have,
Or
have,
आप कौन बोल रहे हैं हैव? वो बताए कि हैव कैसे आएगा? हाँ?
हम सेंटेंस को स्टार्ट में ये वन और अदर.
जी. So or is joined with one or other. So both are singular. We will write has here. Of these fellows are is a prepositional phrase. ठीक है? So one or other or is joined with two singular subjects. So we will write has here in this particular sentence. This is the exercise for subject verb agreement related to nouns. Now we will learn some rules related to pronouns as well. We know that pronouns are I, you, he, she, it, we, they, it, possess. We know all the cases. So try revising all the cases of pronouns as well, like first person, second person, third person, and nominative case. जिसको कहते हैं हम subjective case as well, objective case, possessive case, and reflexive case as well. So our 12th rule, including the pronouns, is the object of a verb or of a preposition, when it is a pronoun, should be in the objective form. ठीक है? Let's suppose you are writing between and let. You have you and me as an object. You will write it as in objective case. You know that I have the objective case of I is me. So you will write me here. So this is let is the verb. After that, uh, let me give you another example for this. I'm going to write this for you, that we know that we have this structure: subject, verb, and object. We have this structure, simplest structure in our sentence. If we are writing that I gave apples to her, okay? So here we are writing her. We are not writing she because this is we are writing in object. So we will choose objective case. At the same time, when we have this is a simpler sentence, we know that one type of sentence as well, in which we write the verb first and then object. That example is imperative sentence where you give the commands like go there. Okay, such kind of sentences where you write the verb first. So it means that after verb, you will be having the object. If you are writing let, you will write him because you know that after verb you will write objective case. Either it is a simple sentence, either it is interrogative sentence, or either it is imperative sentence. Whatever type of sentence it is, don't get confused with this case. That if it's an imperative case, you will have to write let after you have to write him. And if your sentence is going to start with preposition, you will be having your object after that. So you will write you and me there in your sentence. Third rule is a pronoun directly after than or as is usually in the objective case unless there is a verb after it. Okay? We have this rule that whenever we are writing than or as, we always write objective case unless until after that then we have a verb. You can see it does. Now I will read the example for your clarification that I swim better than him. Okay, that you will write objective case after than. I swim better than he does. If you have the verb after than, you will write the subjective case. He. Now you can see the difference. But this particular sentence is now outdated. It's old fashioned. Now we don't write the verb after it. We prefer writing such kind of structures. Okay? We prefer writing such kind of structures whenever we are writing comparisons. Okay, now you can read the rule number 14. Following nouns are usually uncountable in English. These nouns are uncountable. Advice, news, information, furniture, luggage, work, business, weather, traffic, scenery. Now you have to keep these words in your mind. Okay? These nouns in your mind, you have to keep them in your mind. Bread. If you are thinking of one separate item, because for uncountable nouns we don't have any plurals. हम ये नहीं लिखते informations, हम ये नहीं लिखते advices, ठीक है, इनकी plurals नहीं होते. So if we are talking about one singular thing about these uncountable nouns, you will write such kind of words. A piece of, a bottle of. Okay? You will write it like this. Now you can see in the example, he gave me an advice. मतलब a और an आप लिख रहे हैं, so you can't write advice because advice is not a single piece. So for that reason, correct sentence would be he gave me some advice or he gave me a piece of advice. Both are correct. You have to write such kind of words with them whenever you are writing a or an with them. Whenever you are going to tell one singular part of that particular noun, you have to write some, you have to write a piece of, you have to write a bar of, you have to write a bottle of. Now you can see in the second example, the sceneries here are very good. You know that we just said that we have this word scenery. We don't say sceneries. So the right answer is the scenery here is very good. So these all uncountable nouns carry a singular verb with them, and we can't write the plurals of these countable nouns, and we can't write a or an with them. You have to keep these things in your mind. Whenever we have to talk about one unit of these things, you will write some, a piece of, or a bottle of. Now revise indefinite pronouns. Those pronouns are anybody, anyone, anything, each other, anybody, or someone, something, but, few, several. You know about these indefinite pronouns. We have discussed about these indefinite pronouns. But what kind of verb they will carry? Now you have to keep this chart in your mind, that words having anybody, anyone, anything, each other, everybody, everyone, everything, something, nothing, no one, one, they will carry singular verb with them. And these four words, now keep these four words in your mind, both, few, many, and several, they will carry plural verb with them. And there are five indefinite pronouns: all, any, most, none, or some. They can carry singular or they can carry plural according to the context of the sentence. We will see the example. Every man and woman in this hall. Now every is here, so we will write is. Okay, is a member. Few, there were four words which carry plural, both, few, many, or several. Few were attending the seminar. Okay, so here we write plural with the few. There are some indefinite pronouns. We have just discussed that there are four indefinite pronouns. Keep these four in your mind: all, any, most, none, or some. These five indefinite pronouns, whenever they are in your sentence, their prepositional phrase will decide their verb. If when we were talking about the subject verb agreement, we said that whenever we have this prepositional phrase or any words coming between the subject and the verb, we don't get confused with such kind of verb, because these are just for the sake of explanation. But for the uh, in uh, in this particular rule, whenever we have to write these five indefinite pronouns, uh, the nature of the verb will be decided according to this particular prepositional phrase. This prepositional phrase will help us here in writing the verb. If the word written in the prepositional phrase is singular, we will write is. Most of the class, we will write is in the gym. None of them. Here the word is plural, them, in the prepositional phrase. We will write were present. Okay? So only these five indefinite pronouns are, whenever they are coming in the sentence, their verb will be decided according to their prepositional phrase. Rule number 16. When the subject of a verb is a relative pronoun, care should be taken to see that the verb agrees in number and person with the antecedent of the relative. For example, this is one of the most interesting novels that have appeared this year. Okay? It means that whenever you have the relative pronoun, you know that, which, whom, who, these all are relative pronouns. Whenever you are writing such kind of relative pronouns and we have the verb after that, you have to write the verb according to its the word coming before that particular relative pronoun. Okay? So its antecedent is novel, not one. Okay? So this is another rule that you can have for one, because we said that for one indefinite pronoun we use singular verb. Okay? You can see here that one for one indefinite pronoun we use singular verb, but whenever we are having relative pronoun, no matter what kind of subject we have, we will write the verb according to its antecedent noun. Okay, that is novels. So these are the sentences which you have to correct. He has eaten two breads. What will be the right answer? Who will tell me? Correct this sentence.
He has eat two bread.
नहीं,
He has eat two bread.
नहीं, हैज के साथ तो बेटा थर्ड फॉर्म ही आती है, ही हैज ईटन ही आएगा.
He has eaten two bread फिर होगा.
It's an uncountable noun जिसमें हमने कहा था कि we have to write some a piece of, so you can't write the number exact number. देखो जब एक चीज uncountable है, ठीक है, तो हम उसके साथ आ, वन और एन और टू और थ्री किस तरह लिख सकते हैं. ठीक है, आप कह सकते हो कि यू हैव गिवन मी 2 एडवाइसेस, नहीं कह सकते ना, बिकॉज इट्स अनकाउंटेबल. so you will write he has eaten some bread or a piece of bread. आप इस तरह लिखोगे इसको. ठीक है, I have an important work to do. बोले. Can anyone correct it?
Has an important work to do.
I के साथ तो have ही आता है बेटा. Any one of you?
बज़ाहिर तो ठीक ही लग रहा है. I have important work.
बेटा वर्क इज अगेन अनकाउंटेबल नाउन. ये देखो आप लोगों ने ना ये वाले वर्ड्स याद रखने हैं. ये वाले, ये देखो एडवाइस, ये वाले वर्ड्स एडवाइस, न्यूज, information, work, business. These words will not carry any quantifiable word like a, an, to, three. कोई भी quantifiable word ये carry नहीं कर सकते. So you will not write an work, an important work. You will write I have some work, some important work to do. ठीक है? Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now choose the correct option. She is one of the best mothers that has or have.
Has
Has आएगा मैम.
नहीं Samuel, Sania is right. यहाँ पे have आएगा because we said that whenever we are writing the verb after the relative pronoun, you will use its antecedent word. ठीक है. Now one is not appropriate for choosing the verb. You will choose a verb according to the and that antecedent word which is before that. ठीक है. So you will write mothers के लिए आप plural use करोगे. So you will write she is one of the best mothers that have ever lived. Okay. Oh,
Okay, ma'am.
okay. Irony is one of those evils which dash to perpetuate. अब मुझे दोनों में बताएं, tends or tend or itself or themselves.
which tend to
Ma'am, tends or itself?
नहीं अली.
tend or themselves.
Yes, Nurullah is right. Tend or themselves. Ali, now see this again. It's a relative pronoun, and you will not write it according to the subject tyranny. You will write it according to this word which is coming before that relative pronoun. So evils is plural. You will write plural verb that is tend. Okay, because we write only first form of the verb when we are having plural subject. Okay, and when you are choosing the plural, when your subject is plural, you are writing the plural verb tend, then you will consistently use the plural pronoun as well, that is themselves. Tyranny is one of those evils which tend to perpetuate themselves. Okay, choose the correct option. Leave Nell and me, sorry मैंने खुद ही बोल दिया and me to trial alone. अच्छा इसमें me आएगा. अच्छा, you and Dash are invited to tea this morning.
I
Yes, I, because it's a subject, and you will write the subjective case. Between you and dash, he drinks
Me.
heavily. Me. G. Arslan, have you said something?
No, ma'am, I answer.
अच्छा, ठीक है. Okay. Now we are going to discuss some rules regarding the adjectives as well. Now you know that what are the adjectives? Adjectives are those who describes nouns and pronouns as well. Okay, so there are some degrees of adjectives. So rule number 17 is the words superior, the words superior, inferior, senior, junior, prior, interior. We know that whenever we are writing the degrees of comparison in adjective, that he is taller than me, he is stronger than me. So we are using that word than. Okay? So whenever we are having such kind of words, we will not use than, we will write to instead of then. As a novelist, Jane Austen is superior to Mrs. Henry. Okay, so we will write to instead of then in adjective rules. A very common form of error is exemplified in the following sentence. Now you can see in the example, the population of London is greater than any city in India. Now you can see the comparison. You know that we are having comparison of two things: the population of London and any city in India. Now read the second sentence: the population of London is greater than that of any city in India. Now you can see that there the comparison is not equal. Here the comparison is between population and the city, so this is not equal. Now, in the second sentence, the comparison is population and that city's population. So, in order to keep equality in your comparison, sometimes you have to use such kind of words that of, okay, to refer to that word. Like that is will, because you know that we use these, that, those, and these. These words are demonstrative words which are used to demonstrate or refer to the previous word. Okay? So you can use that to refer the population word here in order to make equal comparison. Okay? So first sentence is wrong and second sentence is right. Okay? This is the rule that there should be rule of adjective, that there should be equal comparison. If you are talking about population, compare it with the population of another city. Don't compare it with the city. So this is the rule of the verb adjective. So rule of verb is uh, carefully distinguish between the verbs lay and lie. We know that sometimes we confuse these two verbs, lay and lie. The verb lay is transitive. You know transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Now revise again transitive and intransitive words. Verbs, what are those? Transitive verbs are those who are having object with them, or direct object. And intransitive verbs are those who don't have the indirect, who don't have the direct object. Okay? So lay is a verb which is transitive and always have the object, and lie is intransitive and it cannot have an object. I have written three forms for you. You know that verbs always carry the forms lay, late, and lay. So lie, lay, and lay. So you can see in this sentence, lay the child down to sleep. Now you can see lay whom. Lay word has a transitive verbs. Let me lie here. Now lie doesn't have the direct object. Okay? So both are having the same meaning, but you can use them when you have transitive, when you have direct object, you will use lay. When you don't have the direct object, you will use you will use lie. You can see in the second example, the hen has laid an egg. ठीक है? So what he has laid egg. He lay under that pupil tree. So here lay doesn't carry the direct object. So here we will write this particular lay, and here we will write this particular lay. So these are the two differences between the word lay and lie and their usage according to their feature of having intransitive in nature and in transitive feature in nature. Rule number 20. A common blunder is to leave the participle without proper agreement or with no agreement. There are two different mistakes. Participle is having ing form, present participle. And you all know that whenever present participle is used as a noun, it is called as gerund. Okay? So whenever you are using participle, it should be agreed with another part of the sentence as well. This is a bit tricky. You have to understand it now. Sitting on the gate, a scorpion stung him. अब मुझे ये बताएं कि किसके सिटिंग की बात हो रही है, स्कॉर्पियन की के उस बंदे की?
In person.
Yes, person ki. It means that there is no parallelism in this sentence. There is no coherence in this sentence because when we said sitting, Scorpion was not sitting there. That man was sitting there. So there should be a coherent, there should be an agreement. You will write it like this. Sitting on the gate, he was stung by a scorpion. No matter what, either you have to change your voice, either you have to write from the active to the passive. It doesn't matter. You if you have to write a passive sentence, you will write, but you will make it coherent. You will make it agreed to its participle. Okay? Now this sentence is appropriate. Sitting on the gate, he was stung by a scorpion. Okay? So there in this sentence agreement was there, and you have to make it a proper agreement. Now read the second sentence. Being a very hot day, I remained in my tent. Now इस being participle का कोई भी consistency नहीं है, मतलब there is no agreement. First sentence was related to proper agreement, and second sentence was related to no agreement. ठीक है, कभी कभी agreement वाली कोई बात नहीं भी होती, but how you can make it a good or coherent sentence? As it was a very hot day, I remained in my tent. You will avoid using participle, and you will write any conjunction to relate it with the sentence according to the context of the sentence. When there is no agreement, then you will avoid writing participle, and you will use any suitable conjunction for that particular sentence. This particular rule is a bit tricky, and you have to keep this thing in your mind. Two things are in this rule. Either there is an agreement needed, either there is no agreement. ठीक है, दोनों को आपने कैसे fulfill करना है. This is the main thing. Okay, the last rule for the verb is whenever you are having such kind of words like enjoy, avoid, or miss, postpone, or suggest. So when the following verbs are often wrongly used with the to infinitive. So whenever you are having such kind of verbs, you will not write infinitive. You know what is infinitive? That is to plus verb. To go, to swim, to walk, to work. Okay? So keep these 5 words in your mind. Enjoy, avoid, miss, postpone, suggest. With these verbs, you will not write infinitive. Either you will write gerund, that is present participle. Now you can see in the example, he enjoys swimming. Sorry. अब यहाँ पर हम ये नहीं लिखेंगे he enjoys to swim, because we know that enjoys verb doesn't carry infinitive, it always carries gerund. She avoids meeting people. You will not write she avoids to meet people. Okay? With these five verbs, you will not write infinitive, you will write gerund, meeting people, swimming. Okay, these are the rules for the verbs. I'm going to give you this exercise for your home, and in the next class we will discuss about these sentences, that how you have recast or restated these sentences according to the verbs rule. ठीक है, verbs rule में we just have covered these verbs which carry gerund instead of infinitive, and whenever you are using participle, there should be an agreement, or if there is no agreement, avoid writing that participle. And the difference of lay and lie, these are the three rules which we have covered under the heading of the rules for the verbs, and you have to keep all these rules in your mind. I will ask you some sentences in the next class, and this exercise is your home task. You have to restate this exercise according to the rules which we have covered so far for the verbs. Is there any question regarding these rules which we have covered today?
No, ma'am.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now we are going to end this session here, and on 1:30 there is
मैम ये
only.
रूल्स मिलेंगे, ये रूल्स मिलेंगे हमें एक्सरसाइज करने के लिए?
हाँ जी, I'm going to send you this PPT slide.
चलें ठीक है मैम.
ठीक है. After 2 minutes, you will be having your quiz on Google Classroom on the narrative essay. So I'm going to end this session so that you can start your quiz. You will be having 1 hour to complete your essay. So on your Google Classroom and get ready for the quiz. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, beta. Allah Hafiz to all of